as he left Washington today for Texas. He arrived in Fort Worth earlier this afternoon. President Biden is here to promote health care for veterans, but he was also focused on the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the impact it is having on the economy of the United States. Thanks for joining us on ntTV Nightly News. I'm Hannah Gonzalez.
And I'm Nick Ogele. While the president's message for veterans was the official reason for his visit, the impact of his actions on the oil and gas front will have an impact not only here, but across the globe. That's right, Nick. The president announced a ban on Russian fuel imports, including oil. With more on that, Christine Guevara joins us in studio. Christine.
Thanks, guys. Russia will no longer be able to import oil, natural gas, or coal to the United States. In turn, we will continue to see a major impact on gas prices. Those increases have already started. The president said the ban of Russian oil will mean an economic squeeze here, but his administration will work to limit it.
We remain united. We remain united in our purpose to keep pressure mounting on Putin and his war machine. This is a step that we're taking to inflict further pain on Putin, but there will be cost as well here in the United States. I'm going to do everything I can to minimize Putin's price hike here at home.
Biden warned companies against increasing their prices as consumers are already impacted by the gas hikes. The oil and gas industry is in agreement on banning Russian imports and plan to comply, along with the CEO of the American petroleum industry. And with the summer driving season nearly here, those pump prices will surely continue to go up. Nick, back to you.
That is right, Christine. We're already seeing gas prices rising all across the country. U.S. gas prices have never been this high before. On Monday night, the national average hit $4.14 a gallon. This breaks the record of $4.11 from 2008. According to a AAA, some gas stations raised their gas prices even more on Tuesday to a day's average of $4.17. To save gas and money, avoid driving during heavy traffic. Make sure to manage your speed to conserve fuel. Turn off your AC if you don't need it, and pay cash at the pump, as it can save you 5 to 10 cents a gallon and add up over time. Turn off your engine when traffic and waiting for it to avoid waste of gas. And avoid gas stations near the highway, as they are often the most expensive. According to an energy expert, we could be seeing $5 gas nationwide.
But the impact of Russia and Ukraine is not only affecting gasoline prices. It's caused major global impacts as places all over are shutting down their services to Russia. McDonald's is the first major company to pull out of Russia and shut down its restaurants. With more than 800 locations across Russia, McDonald's has become an essential part of the communities and the economy in Russia. Shutting down these restaurants will significantly impact Russia. McDonald's CEO states the human suffering in Ukraine cannot go ignored.
Hannah, just a few days ago, it was warm, and today it's hailing. The weather has confused me.
Well, Nick, we do live in Texas, so that kind of makes sense. But let's hand it over to our weather anchor, Isabella Quintanilla, to see what our weather will look like for the next few days. Isabella.
Yes, guys, this Texas weather has been a bit unpredictable as of late, but now let's take a look at the current conditions here in Denton. As you can see, it's still pretty cloudy, but the sun has come out for the most part. The temperature right now is sitting at 45 degrees with a wind speed of 6 miles per hour, but it still feels like 45 degrees. Then looking at the conditions later tonight, it is expected to be partly cloudy, and that temperature is going to drop all the way down to 24 degrees with a wind speed of 4 miles per hour, but it's going to feel like 25. Then looking at the conditions tomorrow, it's going to be mostly sunny with a temperature of 59 degrees and a wind speed of 6 miles per hour. But because of that sun, it's going to feel warmer than it actually is, so it is expected to feel like 63 degrees. That's all I have for First Look. Be sure to stay tuned for a look at the full weather later on in the show. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Isabella. Over a year ago, Guy Reffitt of Wiley, Texas, was indicted for storming the Capitol today. Today, Reffitt was found guilty on all counts. Reffitt was the first rioter to go on trial. He was arrested 2 weeks after the January 6th attack on Congress. His own son turned on him in the FBI. Reffitt was convicted of 2 counts of obstruction of justice, 2 counts of civil disorder, and 1 count of entering and remaining on restricted grounds with a firearm. Though Reffitt never made it inside the Capitol, security camera and crowd footage showed him climbing a banister. This conviction sets a precedent for other Capitol rioters to be charged and convicted.
Yes, Nick, other Capitol rioters affected by this precedent include the far-right extremist group, the Proud Boys. The leader of the Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio, was indicted today on charges of conspiracy related to the January 6th attack. He was arrested in Miami and appeared in court today. Prosecutors say while he was not in Washington, D.C. the day of the riot, he did help organize and rally his group for the attack. He was previously arrested for burning a Black Lives Matters banner and bringing a high-capacity rifle magazines to Washington, D.C.
As Ukrainian citizens continue to be displaced, the numbers have now surpassed 2 million refugees. We have your update coming up next in the show.
Young people struggling with substance abuse are getting help from our very own UNT students. Find out how these students are helping change the lives of these youth. Coming up next.
Six. 7.
Hey, didn't see you there. Just finished my 100th rep. You ready to train?
Yeah!
You got your weights?
Yeah!
You got your energy drink?
Of course!
You got time to go to the Pole Recreation Center?
Yeah, what?
Listen, I didn't even graduate high school. I can't teach for the life of me.
Instead, UNT is offering workout classes at a moderate pace, including yoga, cycling, Pilates, and more.
Don't rely on your dad's old workout videos. Check out the UNT Rec Center today.
Amidst the Ukrainian-Russian conflict, millions of Ukrainians are fleeing their country. As the refugees reach 2 million, NATO allies work to fix the humanitarian crisis. Chris Wynn has the details.
As Russian attacks intensify in Ukraine, the humanitarian crisis deepening by the minute.
This horror cannot be endured. I cannot express it. The fear, the crying children.
Ukrainian authorities say at least 21 civilians were killed in a Russian airstrike overnight in the city of Sumy. Several attempts to evacuate civilians failed earlier this week. Western leaders accusing Russian forces of targeting pre-approved safe routes.
Targeting civilians is a war crime, and it's totally unacceptable.
According to the United Nations, nearly 500 civilians have been killed since the war began, but officials believe the number is even higher. More than 2 million refugees have already fled the country.
We have not seen in Europe a crisis escalating so fast since the Second World War.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky attempting to shame the West to save his people.
The fault is with the occupants, but the responsibility is with those who still haven't secured Ukrainian skies from the Russian killers.
But the U.S. and Europe must walk a fine line, facing a nuclear-armed Russia. Tuesday, President Biden amped up economic pressure by banning Russian energy imports, while NATO is still ruling out a no-fly zone.
We have a responsibility to ensure the conflict does not escalate and spread beyond Ukraine.
In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
If you're thinking about watching the newest Batman movies in theaters, you may want to go before your favorite location shuts down. ntTV's Olivia Thompson is live at the Denton Alamo Drafthouse. Olivia, what can you tell us?
Well, Hannah, unfortunately, the cinematic action, romance, or comedy that the North Richland Hills viewers love to see will no longer be showcased at the Cinema Alamo Drafthouse Theater. I'm currently standing at the Drafthouse Denton location, and there's few people filing in and out of the theater this evening. The Alamo Drafthouse DFW chain filed for bankruptcy on February 25th. The restrictions that COVID-19 brought in, along with finance issues, pushed the decision to shut down. As for the locations in Richardson and Lake Highlands, Texas, you still have the chance to catch a movie and popcorn at your convenience. Although movie theaters are opening up to the public as distancing limitations lift, some locations couldn't withstand the hiatus. That's all I have. I'm Olivia Thompson. Back to both of you at the desk.
Thanks, Olivia. Nick, now do you have any spring break plans?
You know I do. I plan on taking a relaxing vacation to my couch.
Well, Nick, I'm glad you're having that time off, but let's check back in with our weather anchor, Isabella Quintanilla, who is in studio to see what our spring break weather is going to look like.
Well, guys, it looks like we have one more cold front coming through late Thursday night and early Friday morning, but after that should be pretty sunny. More on that later. First, let's take a look at the current conditions across North Texas. As you can see here in Denton, it is currently 45 degrees. Way out west in Graham, it is 47. It's up to 47. Then farther down south in Stephenville, it is up to 49, but mostly we're staying in those 40s. Now let's take a look at the current conditions across the state. Again, here in Denton, 45 degrees. Way out west in El Paso, it's up to 58 degrees. Up north in Amarillo, 46. And then down south in Austin, it is up to 53 degrees. Now let's take a look at the full week. As you can see right now, we're in with a high of 59 and a low of 35. And then Tuesday, we're gonna have a high of 68 and a low of 31. Then, as I said earlier, late Thursday night, early Friday morning, that cold front is gonna come through. We're expected to have a 64 chance of rain on Friday, and that is gonna cause a wintry mix. We'll have a high of 39 and a low of 21, but then that sun starts to come out and those temperatures are gonna rise. Up until Tuesday, we have a high of 81 and a low of 49. That's all I have for weather. Nick and Hannah, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Isabella. UNT offers over 100 degrees for students to pursue their passions and turn them into careers. I had a chance to follow UNT seniors who are following a path in social work.
We got a really good group of people working together on this. I've never seen a charity concert in the cohorts before us. This is a big deal. We're all making a big deal out of this.
Project Youth is a cohort at UNT that is made up of seniors studying social work. Their mission is to prevent and intervene in adolescents who suffer from substance misuse. The group partnered with Killers Tacos to raise money for Youth 180.
We're fundraising for Youth 180, which is a nonprofit outpatient treatment facility in the Oak Cliff area of Dallas. And Youth 180 basically focuses on trauma-centered counseling. It focuses on healthy copanisms and prevention education for kids as young as 8 up to their early 20s. And tonight we have 6 bands playing. The $10 cover is all going to go to Youth 180.
Haley Youngworth, who serves on the executive board, explains how events like these help their cause.
Well, it brings awareness to the organization that we're representing, but it helps encourage people to want to support and to want to be involved.
But how does the money raised help Youth 180?
Our money will directly go into the therapy, the cost of counseling and therapy, and it's an outpatient facility, so any transportation, anything like that they need, it will also go there.
For ntTV, I'm Hannah Gonzalez. The concert raised over $2,000, and if you're interested in donating to the cause, their Venmo is UNTX Project Youth. Coming up, a local cat hops to the top of this sweet candy competition. Stay with us to learn more.
And if you feel like you've had a bit too much of that Cadbury chocolate and are looking to get active, Camp Gladiator is the way to go to help you get fit and healthy. We have more on that when we come back.
Why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others.
For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
UNT is more than 125 years in the making. To find new solutions, we create a new point of view. We know what's possible when creativity, originality, and independent thought converge. We're ranked a Tier 1 research university. We're home to excellence the size of Texas. Define your future at UNT and soar to new heights.
In the 24/7 world we live in, simple schedules are a thing of the past. ntTV's Austin Hedgecott explains how you can find time for a workout even on the busiest of days.
Thanks, Nick. While the early bird gets the worm, the really, really early bird gets a good workout. Formed in Dallas and now in over 350 cities nationwide, Camp Gladiator gives early risers a chance to get up, get active, and get on with the day.
Social media in the spotlight once again. An investigation into TikTok follows a similar one launched in November by a group of state attorneys general and whether these platforms are harmful to children.
It's really a wake-up call, the power of social media on such a young population.
Dr. Mohammed Al-Dasari, director of the Center for Pediatric Neurosciences at Cleveland Clinic, says social media can affect children's mental health and may even cause or worsen stress and anxiety.
These young minds are very suggestible. They're very vulnerable to these exposures.
Al-Dasari says parents and kids need to be aware of potential dangers if a child is already.
In addition to in-person workouts, campers have access to thousands of virtual workouts each week. Anyone interested in joining or finding camps near you can do so through the official Camp Gladiator website. That's all for Commit to Be Fit. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Austin. So, Nick, with Easter just a few weeks away, the Cadbury Chocolate Company is getting ready to produce tons and tons of their famous Cadbury eggs.
Yes, and each year, Cadbury holds a contest to temporarily replace their iconic bunny. This time, however, a local furry friend is looking to take the center stage. Drew Maurer has more on this story.
Thanks, Hannah and Nick. For over 200 years, Cadbury has been a beloved chocolate brand around the world, but not only for their sweet treats. The Cadbury Bunny is an Easter staple, and the bunny contest is held at a high esteem. This year, it's a tight race to the finish, as Denton's own Will-O-Wisp the cat is looking to take the 2022 4th annual Cadbury Bunny crown. This one hits especially close to home, as Willow lives with their owner in our hometown of Denton, Texas. Willow, who was rescued 2 years ago, is a white polydactyl cat, meaning she has thumbs. Look at her in her little basket. She's so adorable. Will-O-Wisp has some tough competition to beat out, though, including Florida's therapy horse, the miniature horse, and New York's own Eclipse llama. If you're asking me, though, it's really no contest, and Willow has my vote. Guys, what do you think?
Well, Nick, I think cats make the best bunnies.
And I'm allergic to llamas and horses, so Willow has my vote as well.
Yep, that works out then. Nick, don't you love playing basketball?
Who doesn't? And basketball is one of my favorite sports.
Yeah, Nick, well, I know Armando is carrying a special story with him. Armando.
Hey, Hannah and Nick, every star has their story. I'll tell you about this upcoming basketball commit next.
That was a really good movie. Yeah, I really liked it. Yeah, so we have to watch the next one before next class, right? We do? I think so, but it's not on Netflix and it's not on Hulu, so... Man, I don't want to pay for that. So what do we do? You think there's a place we could go to get the movie? I'm not sure, maybe?
Oh, there's a place to get the movie.
Oh. Really?
Yeah, it's right here on campus. Come on, I'll show you.
road to success in sports isn't an easy one, but for South Grand Prairie high school basketball star Jocelyn Hartfield, it's rare to find someone who has shared the same experience that she has. Here is Jocelyn's journey. Jocelyn Hartfield. She's a South Grand Prairie varsity basketball player who just finished competing in her senior season. Like every other player, she loves basketball. She loves her team, but above all, she loves that she's living life.
Me and my friends, we always kind of planned these summers. So, I mean, we got on the ATV, we were riding around. No one was really in the streets, we were just listening to music. And as soon as we were pretty much about to get back to the house, it was just one wrong turn and pretty much my life changed from that moment on.
I was at work, busy, close to actually getting off, probably about an hour or two, when I actually got a phone call. And my phone just kept ringing, the cell phone, and I kept, clicking it off. I couldn't answer because I'm at work. So all of a sudden I thought, okay, something has to be going on because this number keeps coming up, no one I knew. Finally, I answered. As soon as I said hello, before I can say anything, you hear screaming, kids screaming, and Miss Hartfield, that's all they kept saying. Miss Hartfield, it's Jocelyn, it's Jocelyn. And then I lit up, and start screaming back. And as soon as they was trying to explain everything, and they really couldn't explain because I was blowing up. I just heard the name Jocelyn. And they said, Miss Hartfield, she's hurt. And and I just screamed, and I said, I gotta go. And I took off not knowing where I was going.
On May 23rd, 2019, Jocelyn was severely injured in an ATV accident. As a parent, how scary is it seeing your daughter there on that bed?
Imagine your heart beating times 100. That's extremely scary. The ride in the ambulance alone, enough to see that. You seeing your child getting off by herself, that's enough. And then wheeling into the room is even worse. And then plus all wrapped up, blood, bandages, everything. It was just a lot.
While the Hartfield family was grateful that she survived, there were concerns for Jocelyn's future that hit her at the core.
When they came back in, the face that they had, it wasn't looking good. So she finally came back in and she had told me the news that basically my whole hand was broken and that it didn't look like I was ever gonna play any type of sport again or basically maneuver around my life again.
Her injuries required a skin graft as well as 10 hours of surgery. But the road returning from the hospital wasn't an easy one.
It was hard. I mean, there was days where I would just break down and cry. Just being in the position I was in, I didn't have hands to do anything. I went basically back to infant stage. My parents, my sisters, they had to do everything for me. I couldn't use the bathroom by myself. I couldn't put on clothes by myself.
Jocelyn began a 9-month rehab process at Ogunro Head and Shoulder Center and went through physical therapy sessions for 2 to 3 days a week.
It wasn't about the basketball, it was about getting my hands to function. So they pushed me every single day. I was doing rehab at school as well with my athletic trainers. So I would just go from school, sit at the table, do my homework while they're working on my hands.
However, her desire to return to the hardwood didn't align with her body's readiness.
Pretty much every doctor appointment that I went to ended up with me being in tears because every time I went, I thought they were gonna say, yeah, we'll clear you. Yeah, everything looks great. But it was just like the tiniest tears or the tiniest breaks that was in my hands, they were really like, they did not want to let me go until everything was cleared and they knew I was healthy. So it was just a long process just to wait and just get the words like, yes, you're cleared. And I remember when I got the words, like I'll never forget, I was just jumping, I was elated. So from the moment I got cleared, I was ready to go.
On December 12th, 2019, Jocelyn was cleared to play basketball. Her mission was accomplished. Jocelyn made her sophomore season debut on December 17th, 2019.
First game back was against, a DeSoto team that was the #1 team in the country at the time. And, she came off the bench and had a huge impact that game. A lot of the times the result or the thing that people see in terms of her first practice back or her first game back, but they don't see all the work that came before that.
Jocelyn's journey proves how not being certain of the path ahead doesn't mean you can't get where you want to go.
She got a scholarship offer after her injury or after the accident. She got several offers after her injury. That didn't prevent her from reaching her ultimate goal of playing college basketball. And the biggest thing with that is, again, it's the unseen hours, the working behind the scenes, all the small mundane stuff that people just don't see. And you see the result, and unless you know her story, or you might see some of the scars if you get up close to her, like, hey, well, I wonder what happened there. Like, you wouldn't know anything.
With ntTV News, I'm Armando Berry.
I just want to thank the Hartfield family for sharing Jocelyn's story and welcoming me into their home.
Armando, I just want to say, with it being International Women's Day, I just really love this story.
And now that I know her, I can't wait to watch her play next year.
Yeah, Hannah. This one was a lot. Her mom really captured every moment of the journey, and it was just amazing to see.
Well, on that note, thank you, Armando, and thank you for watching ntTV Nightly News.